Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from York Racecourse here on Friday. It is August the 23rd, 2019. It's Nunthorpe Day from York, and I'm going to look at almost all the races on the program. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also join me tomorrow for my Travers preview from Saratoga. A look at the Travers and all the other stakes races on the program from the spot tomorrow. And also join me tomorrow for my last day of the Ebor meeting from York for my preview for that. But we're going to look at almost all the races. The only race we won't look at today will be the fifth race, the 4:15. Very tough two-year-old race, and I just don't feel confident giving out a tip in that race. I want to be 100% behind the tip. If I'm not going to do it. So we're not going to look at the fifth race, the 4:15, but we'll look at all the other races. So let's get on to it. The first race, the 155 from York. It's the Skybat Handicap. It's Class 2 handicap going for a purse of $89,500. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Horses rate 0 to 105. Fields of 20 horses going 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. My top selection here, well, not a top selection. I'll give you two horses that I think can win the same procedure like I've been doing all week during these very large horse fields. But the two horses I like here would be the 5-horse Corelli and the number 16 horse here, Persian Moon. So 5, 16, no particular order. I'm going to put them possibly in exacta forecast box combinations, but I'll definitely use both the horses in the place pod. But we'll start off with the 5-horse Corelli. This 4-year-old gallon by point of entry. Frankie Dettori's on this one for John Gosden. The horse's most recent outing came the 9th of August at Newmarket, a mile and a half in a Class 2 handicap. His first start off a little bit of a break in a very tough race. He finished second by a nose. The winner, Kelly's Dino, had a high weight and just had the jump on this horse. But this horse closed up well, got up the hill well. It was a good effort. Before that, this horse ran the Queen Alexandra at Royal Ascot, 2 miles 3/4 on the turf course, the final race of the Royal Meeting, and the horse just did not stay the trip. Finished 7 by 16 lengths and just weakened out of it. It just wasn't the day to win. And then at Newmarket, the 5th of May, mile and a half in a Class 2 handicap. The horse finished second by half length beyond Baghdad. Just a decent horse there. But this horse, again, just needed that extra turn of foot, but didn't run half bad. First start of the year, and then settled a mile and a half in Class 3 conditions. Horse won by length. First start since May of 2018 there, back in November. The horse just, again, took off clear. A very nice victory. I like him a lot. He'll definitely get the trip. He's going to be drawn a little bit towards the outside, but I think Frankie could navigate through from the wide post draw. 5 to 1, I'll take him. I also think the 16-horse Persian Moon can run a good race at better odds of 15 to 1 through a Colt McFly. Sylvester DeSouza is on this one for Mark Johnston. The horse's most recent outing came 31st of July at Goodwood, a mile and a half in a Class 2 handicap, and the horse finished sixth by 7.5 lengths there, was drawn a little bit too wide, and he just kind of hit the wall. The ground was a little bit, drier maybe than he wanted. He's going to see dry ground today, but it's not as fast as it's going to be as it was at Goodwood. Before that, the horse ran 19th of July, Hamilton, soft ground, mile 3/8 enlisted stakes, and the horse finished second by 3 lengths and ran quite well. The winner, Sarmine, ran better than him, but he had a little bit of a trouble trip, but closed up well. It was a good effort. And then 13th of July at Ascot, mile and a half in a Class 2 handicap. Horse finished 7 by 3 lengths. Didn't handle Ascot at all. You can stay for the race before, which was at Royal Ascot, a mile and a half, where he finished 4th by 2.5 lengths. He was drawn wide and just didn't handle it there. And then ran out Goodwood, a mile 3/8 enlisted stakes, the Derby trial they have there in May. He finished 4th by 3 lengths, and again, he kind of weakened out of it the final few strides of the race. But gets D'Souza back on, gets a good post draw. I think he'll get the mile and a half, and 15 to 1. I'll use him on the multi tickets. But to recount my selection for the first 155 from York, it's the Skybat Handicap. We'll take the 5-horse Corelli. We'll also use the 16-horse Persian Moon, 5-16 exacta forecast combinations, but we'll definitely use both those horses into the place pod. So now let's get to race number 2 from York. The co-featured on Friday's program from York, the second race, the 225, it is the Group 2 Lonsdale Cup. It's a Group 2 race for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $288,000. Race for 3-year-olds then upwards. We have a field of 5 horses going 3,200 meters or 2 miles on the turf course. This is the kind of race, like I said, if you watched yesterday's video, I kept saying the Yorkshire Oaks, great race as a fan, bad race as a gambler. and this race kind of falls in the same kind of guidelines. Great race as a fan, bad race as a gambler, because I think the favorite Stradivarius should run, well here today, and I'll take him as a top selection. But I'll go 153 in the tri-cash trifecta. 153 tri-cash trifecta. I'm more confident. I was more confident in Abel yesterday in that Yorkshire Cup. I'm confident in Stradivarius, but I think there could be a little bit of a price that could possibly sneak up. And that would be the 5-horse Il Paradiso. We'll get to him in a second, but we'll start off with the 1-horse Stradivarius. A 5-year-old horse by See the Stars. Frankie Dettori is on this one for John Gosden. This horse has done everything right out of recent memory. Most recently, the Goodwood Cup at Goodwood, the 2-mile trip on the 30th of July. The horse won by a neck, and DXB nearly got to this horse, but this horse stayed the finish. It was an all-around good run, beating a Melbourne Cup winner there. Before that, in the Gold Cup at Royal Ascot, very soft ground, 2.5 miles. He won by a length, and that was probably one of his best runs ever. He quickened up nicely. Frankie rode a terrific race, and it was just an all-around great effort for him. And then back here at York, mile 3/4 in the Yorkshire Cup, he won by 3/4 length, and again, he won decently. Not as impressive as his 2 races later, but he got the job done. And then he won the British Long Distance Cup last year at Ascot on soft ground on Champions Day. Won this race last year by a length and a half, his best run of 2018, and then won the Qatar Goodwood Cup last year at Goodwood, of course, but he's the best stay in the world. He has a good inside post draw, and I just think he's going to run well. And he's not a gelding, so when this horse goes to the stud, he's going to be he's going to be very popular, and it's good that you see some more stayers go to stud. But everything's points to him running well here today. He actually broke the track record last year, lowered it. He's the holder in 3 minutes and 29 seconds for the 2 miles, so it's quite impressive. But I like him a lot here today. He should run well, so I'll take him. Like I said, I'm not as confident as I was. I was more confident in Mabel yesterday being the winner. But if there could be a horse that could run a big race here with a low weight, I think it could be the 5-horse Il Paradiso. He's the kind of horse right now I would do a small each way on him or a small wager on him for the St. Ledger, because I think he'll stay that distance. But the Strial Colt by Galileo, Wayne Lorden's on this one for Aidan O'Brien. This horse is most recent outing, 21st of July at the Curragh, the 2-mile trip and a handicap, and he stayed the trip well. He was much the best. He won by 12 and could have went around another 3 miles and still won easily. It was an all-around great effort. Before that, they ran this horse in the Irish Derby at the Curragh, mile and a half, June the 29th, and he finished 7th by 18 lengths there, and he just never got into it. Maybe he's just a little bit outclassed by the others. And then at Leopardstown, a mile and a half in main race, the horse won by half length. He was under the drive, but he quickened up nicely. It was a very good victory there. And then his Tyrrell form, he kept placing in some very nice races. He actually placed behind Turgenhoff in a race at Newmarket in the fall, and actually and then finished 3rd behind Circus Maximus. So he's facing some tougher horses as a 2-year-old. His Tyrrell form has been good and then really crap with the Irish Derby, but he has a low weight here of 117 pounds. He'll definitely stay the trip. It's just, can he come up in class here? 12-1, he's my long shot play. I might do a very, very, very small each way on him, but like I said, he's a kind of horse I would look towards the future with the St. Ledger and do a small wager on him. Make sure you do it before the race, just in case he wins, because your price on him before the race for the St. Ledger might be 99-1, and say he wins today or places, that 99-1 might get cut to 20-1 at the and that's being generous. But Il Paradiso would be my price play here, but I still think Stradivarius should walk. But Tariq, have my selection for the second, the 225 from York. It's the Group 2 Lonsdale Cup. Let's take the 1-horse Stradivarius. We'll go 153 in the tri-cash trifecta, and like I said, my price play, very small each way, would be on the 5-horse Il Paradiso. So now let's get to the 3 o'clock third race from York. Race number 3, the 3 o'clock from York. It is the Group 2 Gimcrack Stakes. It's Group 2 race going for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $288,000. Race for 2-year-old colts and geldings only. We have a field of 14 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. My top selection, I'll take the 4-horse Dubai Station. We'll go 4-14-6 in the tri-cash trifecta. 4-14-6 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection of 4-horse Dubai Station. Station. This 2-year-old colt by Brazen Bow. Frankie Dettori's on this one for Carl Burke. The horse's most recent outing came 20th of July at Deauville. 6 furlongs on good ground in the Group 3 the Cowboy, and the horse finished third by 4.5 lengths, and he just needed that extra kick at the end. He ran okay, but he's had a lot better runs. The race before was a better run at Royal Ascot. 20th of June, 5 furlongs in the Group 2 Northfolk Stakes, and the horse finished third by 3 lengths. He had a great turn of foot late. If the race was 5.5 furlongs, he would have won, but he closed up well at the end. A good effort, and then a Haydock on the 6th of June on soft ground, 5 furlongs in a Class 4 novice. He won by length again. He could have won around another 5 times and still won. The margin was small, but Jamie Spencer just rode a terrific race. He eased the horse up at the end. An all-around great run. And then at Nottingham, 6 furlongs in Class 5 novice. The horse finished second by 3/4 length. He needed that extra kick at the end, but still he ran decently. He gets Frankie up today, which is always a plus. He could win on the front end or he'd come from a little bit behind. He'll see a drier ground, and I think throughout that Prix de Cabourg run at Deauville, I think he'll improve a lot here today. So at 10-1, I'll take him. So to recap my selection for the third, the 3 o'clock from York, it's the Group 2 Gimcrack. Let's take the 4-horse Dubai Station. We'll go 4, 14, 6 in the tri-cash trifecta. Let's get to the featured fourth. The featured fourth race from York, the 335, it is the Group 1 Nunthorpe Stakes. It's a Group 1 race for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $512,000, race for 2-year-olds and upwards. Very unusual to have a race for 2-year-olds and older, but this year we don't have any 2-year-olds, so we don't have to worry about that. But we have a field of 12 horses going 1,000 meters or 5 furlongs on the turf course, and this is a very good race here. I think, Batash, the heavyweight here, I think he's beatable here, and I think a 3-year-old's going to win this race for the first time in nearly a decade. I'm going to take as a top selection 7-horse Soldier's Call. We'll go 7-8-1 in the tri-cash trifecta. I do think Batash could get into a play spot, but to win, I just don't like his runs here at York. But I'll go 7-8-1 tri-cash trifecta. In the play spot, I'm going to go 7-8, but we'll start off with my top selection 7-horse Soldier's Call. This 3-year-old colt by showcasing Daniel Thudhope gets the leg up for Archie Watson. This horse has started most recently on the 21st of July at the Curragh. It's 5 furlongs in the Group 2 Sapphire Stakes, and the horse finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths that day. And he was with the pace setters early on. He needed that little extra turn of foot, which he didn't have, but he still ran decently that day. Before that, he ran at Ascot on the 18th of June, 5 furlongs in the Group 1 King Stand. They probably had the option to go to the Commonwealth with this horse, but they stuck him with the 5 furlongs there, and he finished third by 2.5 lengths. Keep in mind, Blue Point who won next start out, won next start out, and Batash won next start out at Goodwood. But this horse, he finished third. He was with the leading pair. He just needed that extra turn of foot, but he didn't run half bad on softer ground. And then his first start of the year came here at York in the Westow Stakes. He finished third by a neck behind Garris, who's running back in this one. But again, he set the pace. He got caught right near the wire, but he still ran a good race off the break. And then at Churchill, 5.5 furlongs in the Breeze Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, he finished 6 by 4 3/4 lengths. Bolton ran a major race and won next start out, but this horse, he was with the pace setters, but he just never had that turn of foot. And then he ran a massive third place finish in the Prix d'Alibi de Longchamp, facing older horse. He finished third by a neck, was with them that day, and he just ran well. And then his last victory came in the Flying Childers Stakes at Doncaster, going 5 furlongs last year. He won by 2 1/4 lengths, and he just won very nicely. Gets Daniel Thudhope up today, who knows this horse better than than Ocean Murphy, who won with this horse also, or rode this horse to decent races, shall we say. But I like the jockey booking. I think he'll get a good run, and I'll take him here at 10-1. Another horse you have to use here is the 8-horse 10 Sovereigns. Ryan Moore's on this one for Aidan O'Brien and the Coolmore Group. This 3-year-old colt by No Nay Never. His most recent outing came in the July Cup at Newmarket, going 6 furlongs, and he won by 2 3/4 lengths. Wasn't sent off as the favorite, which was shocking. I did back him that day. One of my few winners in the month of July, which was just not the best of months for me. But, this horse won by 2 3/4 lengths, and he did everything right that day, and probably was Ryan Moore's few winners of July. But, he stalked, he got the lead, and going up the final furlong, he just exploded. A very good run for him. Major improvement off the start before it came the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup at Royal Ascot, going the 6 furlong trip. He finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths, and he was on wetter ground, which I don't think he really liked that day, and he just never had the good run there. And then before that, he ran at Newmarket in the 2000 Guineas going the mile trip, where he finished 4th by 4.5 lengths. He was the favorite that day, and he just did not last the mile. His better races have come at the sprinting distance, 6 furlongs or even 5 furlongs. Cutting back to 5 furlongs today shouldn't be a problem. I think, from his stalking position, he'll get a good pace to run with, and I think he could get a good run. Like I said, a 3-year-old hasn't won this race in about 10 years. Aidan O'Brien hasn't won this race in about, 20 years. His last victory in this race came in 2001 or two. I did have to Google that. I know the horse is Mozart, but it was so many years ago. So we're coming up in about 18, 20 years since his last win in this race. But, and it was with a 3-year-old also. I like this horse a lot. Another horse, back to the sprinting trip, he'll do well. The thing that will scare me about him today will be soft ground. If we get very soft ground, I'll be a little apprehensive, but I like him on the dry ground. 3-2 ship price, but him with Soldier's Call. Both horses are live here. I don't like Batosh here. He ran in this race last year and finished 4th by 2.25 lengths. He just never quickened up. He just, his wheels were spinning. It just wasn't his day to win. But last time out, he did win the King George Qatar Stakes at Goodwood, but he was facing nobodies. He was supposed to win and he won. But then he ran an awful race, I thought, in the King's Stand. And then won it in the Temple Stakes at Haydock, faced nobodies. But when he faces these very tough Group 1 horses, he kind of falls back a little bit. He ran this race this year, but still wasn't anything spectacular. I'm not. I think he could get a play spot for when I'm just not going to use him. But to recap my selection now for the 4th, the 335 from York, it's the Group 1 Nunthorpe Stakes. Let's take as a top selection 7-horse Soldier's Call. Let's say co-top selection. Wells used 8-horse 10 Sovereigns. We'll go 7-8-1 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. We'll go 7-8 in the place pot. Now, like I said, race number 5, the 4:15, we're going to skip over this race. It's a very tough 2-year-old race, and I just won't feel confident giving out a tip in this race. So we'll head over to the nightcap, race number 6, the 4:50 from York. The 450, the 6th race from York, it's the Nationwide Accident Repair Services Handicap. It's Class 2 handicap going for a purse of $89,500. Race for 3-year-olds only. Horses rated 0 to 105. We have a field of 17 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the turf course. Same like the rest of the handicaps this week. I'll give you 2 horses that I think can win. The 2 horses I like here are going to be the 5-horse Spirit Warning and the 11-horse here, Fast Man. So 5-11 for me here. Exacta combinations, forecast combinations, I'll put them in, but I'll definitely use them in the place pod. But we'll start off with the 5-horse Spirit Warming. This 3-year-old gelding by Charm Spirits gets Carver up in the saddle for Andrew Balding. The horse's most recent outing came the 11th of August at Windsor, 1 mile in a Class 3 handicap, and the horse won by a neck that day. Had a good weight of 130 pounds. He got the neck in front late in the run, and it was just an all-around good race for him from a stalking position. Before that, the horse ran the 24th of July at Linkfield, 1 mile in a Class 3 handicap, and he finished second by half lengths. The winner ran better than him, but he just needed that extra turn of foot late. And then at Windsor, a mile in a Class 2 handicap, finished third by 3/4 length. And again, he was facing a lot tougher horses, stepping up to a Class 2 that day, and he held his own out. He had a great turn of foot, and he ran decently. And then at Chelmsford, a mile on June the 6th in a Class 2 handicap, won by half length, a great turn of foot, and he just went off with it. His form has been very good as of lately. Has a good weight of 120 pounds here. And at 8-1, I'll use him along with the 11-horse Fast Man. This 3-year-old gelding by Elzam here. Jason Hart's on this one for David O'Meara. The horse's most recent outing came 3rd of August at Newmarket, 7 furlongs in a Class 3 handicap, and the horse finished second by a nose. The winner, Ventura Ocean, just found something late that day, but this horse got off the hill well. He just missed by the nose bob, but it was a very good run for him. Major improvement off the race before it came here on the 12th of July at York, 7 furlongs in a Class 3 apprentice handicap. He finished 4th by 2.25 lengths there, and he just had nothing in the final furlong of the race. He ran well for the first 6. But that final furlong, he just hit the wall. It wasn't his day. And then at Air, 7 furlongs in a Class 3 handicap. Horse finished second by 2 3/4 lengths, and the winner ran better, but he was definitely second best. He ran a good 3rd place finish here, though, back in during a Dante meeting back in May, going the mile trip in a Class 4. In a Class 3 handicap, where he finished 3rd by 2.5 lengths. Was drawn wide, but he was with the pace setters. He had a decent turn of foot. He got caught for a second at the wire, but he still ran a good race. 12-1. If he runs that race back like he did during the Dante meeting, he can win. I'll take him here. So to recount my selection for the 6th, 450 from York, gonna take the 5-horse Spirit Warning. We'll also use the 11-horse here, Fast Man, 5-11, forecast exact combinations, but we'll definitely use them both in the place pot. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKit5. Good luck, everybody.